Welcome to the iRacing Monthly Oval Series here on BSR TV. This is round 4, live this evening from Darlington Raceway, South Carolina. The trucks are out once again, 150 laps round the track that's too tough to tame. We'll find out if it lives up to its reputation any minute now. Drivers are out on qualifying, and I am delighted to say I'm joined this evening by Tom Stanley. Evening, Tom.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everyone. And I believe Kyle was just joined as well, Chris.
Yeah, Kyle Young, are you there?
Indeed, I am, Chris.
Welcome to the show, Kyle. Better late than ever, but let's get this show on the road because, Tom, Darlington is one of the trickiest ovals around.
Definitely. It's one of the oldest circuits on the NASCAR season calendar as well. But you know, you got to be tricky. You got to get a fast lap. You got to go quite high quite up to the wall, so you won't be able. You got to be slightly touching it. So it's going to be interesting for any drivers going to try and get a hot lap and may just blow by just going ever so slightly wide into that wall.
And we've got 200 miles to get through. Fixed setup, but it's not the iRacing default fixed setup, which, as described by series organizer Matt Dalton, is crash-tastic. We have what's hopefully a sensible setup out there this evening. One of the older circuits on the oval calendar, Darlington is known for the Darlington Stripe, which is a line running all the way around the concrete on the outside where drivers have kind of failed to make a particular corner, and it should be interesting, especially seeing as this time round it's an open session on iRacing, so anyone could join this race, not just the league members, in an effort to kind of boost numbers a little bit. Should be very interesting to see what people can come up with round here. Turns 1 and 2, very different to turns 3 and 4, Carl, as well.
Yeah, very different in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is a lot wider, a lot sweeping of a turn, and holds a lot more speed than you can in 3 and 4, which can play for some very tight racing going through 1 and 2. These guys trying to keep their speed up as much as they can, and with them being as fast as they are, it can lead to some possible carnage and wall contact. It's very, very hard to keep a strong line around here, and to be able to do that you have to be on your A game. 3 and 4 is a lot tighter than 1 and 2 is. More of a normal turn than these guys are used to, your typical oval 3 and 4 turn. So that gives these guys a little bit of a break and a little bit of some sense of what they're doing, and should give them an easier way to pass than they could in 1 and 2.
Well, Tom, it's going to be a very tough race for the guys at the front. We know some of these guys are very fast. We've got Jake Forster out there. Matt Dalton's not slow himself. John Jarrett's out on circuit. You got any predictions on who's likely to run away with this one, or if anyone?
Well, I believe Jake Foster might have a chance here, but Tom Jarrett was always quick, especially in the Sunday Truck Fits League as well. It happens on there. Tom Jarrett was just gone faster slightly than Jake, but Jake did come second in the last truck race in the Fits series as well at Charlotte for round 2. So it's going to be between probably Jake and Tom, and all these guys have yet to actually have a win. It's the guys who had the most consistent finishes who have got the most points at the moment.
Well, let's have a quick look at those standings then after 3 rounds of this series, which is 3 months, because there's one race every month, which is why it's called the iRacing Monthly Oval Series. No surprises there. Plumley has it by 3 points in the lead from second place Ellis Stevens, then Rob Ross is in third place. He is 12 points adrift. David Stote and aforementioned Jake Forster. Matt Dalton is in 6th, and that's a surprising name we see on the score sheet there. 7th place, Tom Stanley. Wonder who that could be.
I wonder who.
Yes, and you're tied on points at the moment with Kai Barker, but thankfully you're giving us a hand in the commentary box this evening. And will you miss racing, do you think?
At this track, I did a few practice laps, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. I was into the wall, but I haven't really had that time to practice due to uni work at the weekend. So it's going to be nice watching it from the side and seeing how these drivers go handle this track.
Excellent. Well, Dan Hunt there in 9th place, Craig Burleson 10th, Jimmy Young 11th, and the ever-present, it seems, Richard Wilde in 12th place. You can see him in action in the other BSR BSR covered series, including the touring cars, which is Thursdays on BSR TV. Steve Richardson 13th, Simon Field there in 14th, Paul Bird, Steve Barsby, Laura Bond and Andy Baker are sharing 17th place at the moment. Maspero, who won last time out, is in 19th. Kohler, who won the very first race of the season, shares 20th with Ian Bailey. Andy Oakley there with Julian Janowski, and Scott Malcolm is in 24th place. But it's about time to head down to the circuit, and the car's just forming up now. How would you set these cars up, Kyle, if you were, well, you're not even cars really, but how would you set up the Chevy Silverado to go around Darlington, Kyle?
Well, I would try to set it up as comfortably as I possibly can. You know, comfort is just such a big factor to manhandle this racetrack. You are really driving this track. You're driving the track more than you are, or what you really should be driving the competitors. As they say, it's the track too tough to tame, and you really have to be focused. And trying to have to deal with an ill-handling race truck tonight is just going to put these guys at something else to worry about, to where they are going to lose focus and have to spend more time paying attention to something else than they are their what's going on around them. So these guys really need to have as stable of a setup as they possibly can, because any type of mistake, whether it being getting loose or tight at this track, could lead to severe problems.
Well, it's a fixed setup. Everyone's got the same one, although it's not the iRacing default, so hopefully it's not quite as crash-tastic as was mentioned before than it otherwise would be. If you're watching live this evening and you want to throw some comments in the YouTube channel, go ahead. Questions, comments, criticisms, niceties, anything like that, let us know in the iRacing comments. And the same thing if you're watching the recorded version, very welcome to do that. You can see now cars out on the warm-up lap, the pace lap, and Tom, the tyres don't last very long around here at Darlington.
Not what I've seen, you know, I've been seeing some drivers doing some race sims, and it's probably about 30-40 laps. I'm not sure if Carl knows any better, but that's what I've been seeing. Race pace is going to be about, you know, probably about high 29s to the low 30s, but, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep it out of the wall, most importantly, because you can't really go too wide here. You've got to be very confident in the driver that you're going to overtake, that he's going to give you enough room.
Well, pace car is in, and we're about to go racing here at Darlington for round 3 of the iRacing, round 4 even of the iRacing Monthly Oval Series. Just look at all those trucks lined up, all pristine now. It might not stay that way after 200 miles. Tom Drabble in the 112 on the near side will lead them away. He has the inside down into turn number 1 for the very first time. Let's hope everybody can get through there cleanly. Alongside him then, number 44, Jake Forster, in that black, white and red truck on the outside, and the two of them immediately go too wide. Everybody else a little bit slow to get away there, Tom.
Yeah, a little bit slow, but you know, it's always leaders decide when to want to go into 53, getting very close to the wall there, going side by side with, I believe, the 613. So, you know, very close racing, everyone giving a lot of respect, not hitting them in the wall just yet.
613 belongs to Ben Gregory, who is also, 53's in the wall. 53, Andy Oakley there, just making a little bit of contact, contributing to that Darlington stripe, Kyle.
He's probably not going to be the only one to do that, just the first to do so. As we had mentioned before, very easy to get up and into the wall here. You make one tiny mistake and you're pretty much into it. You know, there's just so much less racing room here than at most of the tracks that these guys will race at. And, you know, it's very important not to hit that wall too many times, because once you start knocking those doors and corners off of your machine, then you're going to have to start dealing with some ill-handling issues. And that's not what these guys want to do here early on in the race. Still a long, long race to go. And they want to try to be as comfortable as they can for the majority of the race.
And it was a bit of a contradiction in terms last time, because we had a long periods of green flag racing out there on the circuit, but last time out we did have a high rate of attrition as well, because a lot of drivers were dropping out due to connection problems and other things, and we had a chance to talk about tea bags last time, Kyle, as well, and PG tips. Do you know if you remember that one?
Indeed I do. Yeah, very interesting conversation last month at Auto Club.
Well, yeah, indeed, and we got 21 cars out on the circuit, so let's try and hold on to as many of those as possible for as long as possible. And you make a good point that you could probably get away with, as we saw Andy Oakley made a little bit of contact with the wall, but he's still going. He wants to avoid doing that again. Might get away with it again, but if he's a repeat offender, he'll end up succumbing in no uncertain terms.
Oh, someone a little bit wobbly there. I think that's a Chuck Brothers machine there.
0-5, Robert Burton. Almost lost it. And he has Mark Robertson just behind, and John Jarrett is just up in front of him. So the lime, it's a kind of lime green machine as he goes down the inside, the 21 there. Mark Robertson trying to take that place away from Robert Burton, but it's early days yet, and it's not my choice of paint, Kyle, that one. 21.
Always interesting to see what guys will bring to the track. You know, with them switching up different vehicles every month. You know, it's hard to accustom somebody into a certain paint scheme, and seeing what they have across their vehicles is a very interesting thing to see. Lots of different colors, different sponsors, and different designs.
Well, as we go on to lap number 6 there, Jake Forster he's tearing away from Tom Drabble in second place. That gap at the moment is 1.5 seconds already, and Tom Drabble just seems to have no answer to this, Tom.
If I know Tom Drabble, he'll be saving his tyres for later in the race. You know, it's a long race. We've got 150 laps, only on just going on to lap 8 now. So you know, it's a very long race. He gets extremely close to the exit of that wall there. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see what Tom can do. He loves to save his tyres, like I just mentioned. You know, it is still a very long way to go.
Well, Tom Drabble being chased down by Matt Dalton, who's about half a second behind. Then we've got about 2 seconds back to the 4th place man in the number 3 Chevy Silverado. That is Tom Rowan. Russell Palmer just behind him in the white fronted truck with the black rear end there. It's been uneventful so far, but a little battle going on here as we've got Burton coming around the inside, having to take the low line there. Oh, contact!
That's John Jarrett going into I think Audi XL2. That just, he has got heavy damage. Ooh.
And the 51's in the back of him as well. Is that 5? That's a 91. Stacey Evans. Didn't quite expect John Jarrett to be going quite that slowly, I don't think, and he's taken the low line. He's going to carry on, Tom?
He's missed the pit lane by what I was looking at. He was trying to get quite low into the pit lane, but I don't think he done his practice pit stop in the warm-up. But, you know, John will get back to the pits, get prepared, and get back out there.
Well, let's go on board now with Mark Truxell in number 4. Oh, that's just what I want to see, isn't it? A big KFC sign on the back of Ken Bracey's machine just up in front, making us all hungry in the commentary box. But he's going for the outside line here, and it's difficult to go down the inside here, Kyle.
Yeah, very interesting move there, but he was able to make it happen. If you're going to initiate a pass on the outside, you definitely want to try to do it coming off of the turn. That way you have the straightaway to try to get clear, and depending on who you're racing on, they might just give it to you, especially with it being early on in this race. You know, he gave up the spot, gave him room, and figured that it was better to do that than to really rush things and race for it.
Well, it's trouble for the number 91. Stacey Evans has withdrawn the car to the pits after that contact with the back of John Jarrett, and we saw a little bit of a wide move. Not necessarily too much trouble, but obviously that car not handling quite right for Stacey, and we might have just had our first retirement of the evening. Oh, we lost Kevin Woods as well, so perhaps 2 down now, Tom.
Yeah, Stacey's now disconnecting the session. I think Kevin is. Kevin's not actually racing at the moment, but there's a few damaged cars already. I think John hasn't actually gone into the pits. He's still rotating around just in case of a safety car incident or a caution comes out. But there is a few damaged cars out there. I think there's about 3 that I've noticed at the moment.
Oh, very close to the wall for Robert Plumley there in 10th place, and that might give the jump on him to Christopher Kozar, who jumps past into the 10th position. Truxell now down the inside as well, makes it too wide. I don't want to go too wide there. That was close to comfort. That number 4 machine of Mark Truxell will get the job done. Plumley leading the championship though, Kyle. He's as far as repeat visits for people go, I mean, we don't see the same people in every single race, so all he's got to do is turn up and score some points, I suppose. So winning this race is not going to be top of Kyle's, no, you're Kyle, on top of Robert Plumley's list of things to do, surely.
No, probably not. You know, with this track being as difficult as it is, he's probably just looking in here to just come and have a solid run. You know, this is a race of attrition. You know, survival of the fittest in a way too. You know, if he can finish this race, he's almost guaranteed a decent spot because this track is going to bite some people and it is going to knock out some drivers. So if you can survive this race, and you're pretty much guaranteed, I would say for the field that we have, I think you're guaranteed a top 10 finish. And as a points leader, you know, consistency wins championships, and you know, that's exactly what he will need to do to get some points, is to have a nice, consistent, solid run and finish all the laps.
I think it's particularly ironic you pulled out a Charles Darwin quote when we're down here in South Carolina, but maybe that's just me. Christopher Kozar is in 9th place here. He's starting to edge out ahead of these guys. Mark Robertson, Rock Truxell just behind him, Plumley behind those guys, and Mr. Chuckle, as we like to call him, in that particular livery, 05 of Robert Burton, is now 2.7 down from the next guys up ahead. So John Jarrett, just coming back to him for a moment, we saw a little bit of wall contact and then perhaps contact with another one of the trucks as a result, and he is going around a bit slower. He's just been lapped by race leader Jake Forster there, and is he going to have a chance to repair that damage, do you think, Tom, or is he just going to have to live with it?
I think he's trying to live with it just in case a caution does come out. You know, it's so easy just to hit the wall, as he says, though, to, I believe that's Matt Dalton and Tom Jubble to go through. But I think he's just waiting for a caution just in case other people do hit that wall, especially out turn 2. There's a lot of people have hit that that wall, in fact. But you know, he's just trying to recover it, trying to get it home. He doesn't want to use. I believe he's got a free repair in this series.
You know, I couldn't tell you at Darlington whether that's the case or not. We'll have to see. Anyway, judging by the last races, round 3 changed everything. We had a lot of cautions in round 1 and 2, and then not so many in 3. So Jarrett might just be out of luck if these drivers can keep it on the grey stuff.
Got one in the pits as well, Chris, the number 19.
And that's Colton Serrato there, and he gets things underway again. That was a tyre change, so not sure what's going on there.
And a free repair as well, by the looks of things. So I think drivers have got one free repair.
Andy Oakley on his way in as well, number 53 there. So what is going on here? Well, maybe it's something we didn't see off camera, but we've now got 5 cars a lap down. So interesting, but let's go back to that. No, I'll stick with Andy Oakley, just see if he gets some tyres or not. I guess you might as well. I don't think...
he had a spin. He had contact with the Benjamin, with the 613 coming to turn 1.
Well, Gregory's still going round. Let's go very quickly, see if we can find this one on the replay there. Yeah, we've got it, so let's go around and have a quick look at what happened there. So it's Gregory and the number 53 there of Andy Oakley. Andy Oakley down the outside. And they're too wide, down the straight, over the stripe, looks okay. And it's Oakley in the wall, and Gregory makes contact.
Pace car's out.
The caution flag is out. That must be for a separate incident though. That Gregory's come to a stop as a result of that contact with Oakley, but he's off the track, so that wouldn't have brought it out, I don't think. And Gregory late on the brakes as the pace car kind of crept up on him, and someone else in the back there that's Vince Harley. I don't think these guys expected the pace car, Kyle.
No, I guess not, and I was actually just looking through the replay. I have found the incident. It looks like there was contact between the 77 of Mark Cunningham and the 112 of Tom Drabble. Cunningham was up top. Looks like he made a little bit of a wheel, started to come back down the track a little bit, and the 112 was already there. They made contact, and the 112 spun around. I believe it was the 6 machine as well of Matthew Dalton who got a piece of it. So a couple trucks getting together and spinning in the middle of 3 and 4 on lap 20 to bring out our first caution of the evening.
Well, that's just what John Jarrett wanted. We got it up on the replay now. Dalton and Drabble in that 2nd and 3rd place fight. Drabble dives down the inside there. He's past Dalton, and then contact with that's who is that? The Oreo machine there. Mark Cunningham. Thanks for that. And Around goes Tom Drabble, and he was on the racing line, so that's why the caution has been thrown there. Maybe Drabble was a bit optimistic trying to get past. He was carrying a lot of speed around there. I'm not sure.
Probably thinking that Cunningham would give him a little bit of room, because Cunningham is a lap down truck, and it looked like he made a little bit of a wiggle heading into turn number 3, gathered it up, and then tried to go back to the line that he was originally running. And the 112, Tom Drabble already there, and they made some contact, and around the 112 went, and I believe it was the 6 of Dalton, just an innocent victim there, who was collected, and he didn't really seem to get too much from it. It looked like Drabble may have gotten the worst end of the stick of that one, but nonetheless under caution here on lap number 22, and I see some guys here towards the back. At least I think these might be the lap trucks who are making some pit stops.
We've had quite a few in, at least. Forster still out there behind the pace car, deciding not to come into the pits, and that's Andy Oakley just behind. And I'm not sure if we'll be seeing a lucky dog here. It probably will, I imagine. We're still waiting for everyone to form up behind that Ford Mustang to get things underway once again. Oakley is a lap down. He's 2 laps down, in fact. And then behind him, we've got Matthew Dalton, and Robert Burton has now jumped into 3rd position with having taken no pit stop. So drivers who haven't come in are Forster up front, Burton, and we see Oakley come in just behind there, and Stevens stayed out as well. So Stevens is in the 9th position at the moment. So Truxell is in fact, apparently according to my information, Tom, been in 3 times already.
Which truck was that again?
Mark Truxell, the number 4 there, has been in 3 times. Not sure if that's right.
I'm sure, but that's quick.
Well, 15 cars only remaining. Andy Oakley has pulled it off the track, so his day looks like it might be done. Kyle, this looks like a repeat of what we had last time, where a lot of cars just kind of dropped out through attrition.
Yeah, starting to see that. We're starting to see quite a few drivers pull up behind the wall. I saw Mark Robertson, Colton Serrato, and Thomas Serrato, also 3 other trucks who have disconnected from the server here in this one. So we're starting to lose some guys very early in this race, only 25 laps in, and the field's starting to shrink down. I guess they are finding out that Darlington is just a little too tough to tame for them.
Well, number 2 position, Matthew Dalton in the number 6 car, is waiting for the restart. Can he get the jump on Jake Forster? Because Forster's shown a lot of pace already. We haven't had a lot of this race, but already he's proved to be a lot quicker than anybody else. Nice design on that car, the 44, as the pace car is now in. Forster will lead them away. A little Welsh flag on the back of Matt Dalton's car if you're watching in Glorious HD. Likes everyone to know just where he's from. And number 6 gets underway, but Forster storms away into the lead once again, and Burton, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Burton 2 wide with Russell Palmer. Burton's forced down the inside here, Tom. That's not going to make it easy. Oh, Palmer's getting past 3 wide into the wall.
I'm very surprised that wasn't a massive crash. Unfortunately for Christopher, he's got front right panel damage, so he may have trouble, difficulty actually turning left now. But amazing that it didn't come out with another caution there.
Well, that was the 30 of Christopher Kozar, as Tom mentions, that was in the wall there, and that was not the wisest move on the restart. No one seemingly willing to lift there, and Drabble is now down in 5th place, where he was challenging for 2nd before, so Kozar's up the outside of him again.
Chris was just hogging the wall there, just getting a little bit more damage on there, as I think number 15 was a little bit loose out of there too.
Maybe he's trying to beat that panel out using the Darlington concrete there. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, possibly. It's probably the first time I've heard that one, if that's the truth. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that one before, but it doesn't look like it's hurting him too much, as he's picking up positions, and he's now side by side with the 05 machine of Robert Burton.
Well, Burton seemingly comfortable with that low line for the moment. He seems to have no problem with that. He's having lots of cars go around the outside, and seems to be coping with it fairly well. In the back we've got Ellis Stevens is quite a way down now, but Kenton Bracey is in a pitch battle with Vince Harley, Robert Plumley. and 4 cars. So only 11 cars in the lead lap, 4 cars are now a lap down. I'm going to take the cameras off that KFC machine because it's going to make me want to eat some chicken. Jake Forster, meanwhile, up front here is .4 up and seems to have a problem. Well, he got very wide there, Tom. Not sure if you saw that, but he's almost like hugging the barrier, hugging the wall on the outside, and that's given the lead to Matt Dalton.
Yeah, he went wide in turn 3, was hugging the wall all the way round, and Matt just got him on the inside.
Let's have another look at that one on the replay from Forster's point of view. Yeah, just gets a little bit out of shape and tries to take that Darlington paint off the wall. That's Dalton going through there. And he'll be kicking himself for that one, having built up such a large lead before the caution. Well, Burton now being overtaken by Bracey. Oh, and Burton's made contact with the back of Bracey's machine, but both of them, well, I could almost guarantee that would have been a caution there. And they both managed to get away with that one, Carl. That was interesting.
Very, very close quarters right there. Some contact happening. They were able to keep it going straight though, so that's probably why the caution didn't come out. For sure though, they're going to be suffering some heavy damage. That was some pretty significant contact there. That's probably going to hurt those trucks a little bit.
Well, just look at that again on the replay. We'll have a look at that. Look at the back of Ken Bracey's car, as Ken Bracey's truck, as he makes contact with first with the front end of his truck, and then the rear end as well. Well, let's have a look at that one from Rob Burton's point of view. Just a big dent from Burton's truck, and then another huge dent as the iRacing physics model kicks in there. Not sure about that, the realism of that, but never mind. And they're both still going. That's the 47 of Robert Plumley, just at the bottom of your picture there. And Dalton now has about a second on Forster, but that's coming down, isn't it, Tom? He's going to be back in the lead battle pretty soon as Forster.
Yeah, only 3 attempts went across the line that last lap, but as they're going to come across again onto that number 34, the gap is now 0.7, so we lost 4 attempts in that lap.
Well, Forster hopefully wasn't struggling too much with damage after his wall contact there, but he was the quickest man by quite a way in the practice session, and he did qualify best of all. So Tom Drabble, 3rd place now. Truxell up to 4th, Kosar 5th. Palmer is in 6th, Bracey 7th, Burton 8th, and we're starting to see these guys spread out a little bit on the racetrack, and probably the closest battle we've got, except for the one up front, is now going to be between Russell Palmer and Christopher Kosar. But almost to the 40 lap mark now. 150 here from Darlington Raceway and the Chevy Silverados this evening. It's been fairly eventful so far, Kyle, and how many do you think are going to finish this?
Yeah, definitely eventful so far. Lots of action, lots of trucks getting their Darlington stripes very early. At this rate, we we might see something similar to what we did last month at Auto Club. We've already lost, looking here, we've already lost 6 trucks within the first 30 laps or so. So that's not a very healthy ratio when you're looking at the longevity of this event. 115 laps to go, and there's only 15 trucks out on the track. At that rate, we're probably going to see less than 10 trucks finish if this continues. But right now, there's a lot of gap and a lot of space between a lot of these guys that are starting to kind of file in and run some green flag laps. So hopefully that's not the case.
Well, we were just riding on board there with Russell Palmer. But I tend to agree with you. Let's hope we get at least 10 finishing by the end. But we've got to.
Jake Foster in the wall again, trying to catch up to Matt.
Well, let's go back and have a quick look at that one on the replay. That's the second time for Jake Forster that we're aware of, at least. And Dalton running some good laps here. He's not short of pace. He's under the 30-second barrier.
That's what you need. You need decent race pace. Like Matt's got clean air. He's got the advantage here. You've got, you have got Jake.
Oh, sorry, Tom. The caution's out. Kosar's gone around. Let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay straight away. Second caution of the evening with 113 to go. Oh, he just seems to get loose mid-corner. I don't know if there's a bump down there or what, but it was That was a weird one. I don't know. I'm looking at that on the replay. I hope you can see that, guys, but it's a bit uncharacteristic. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, he just never got the corner back. He's gone down onto the inside of that dotted white line, which is effectively the apron there. And look, you see how narrow the bank section is, but it's difficult, very difficult. What do you make of that, Kyle?
Yeah, just he hit the apron a little bit there and got a little bit sideways. Could be a factor of the damage too. You know, with the damage, it'll hurt him. It'll be a little bit more difficult to hang on to, and I have a feeling that's what affected him there. Just the damage affecting the truck enough to where it was a little bit too hard for him to save, and spun around and backed it into the outside wall to give him some more damage. So a tough race so far for Christopher Cosard in the number 30 machine. I think it's all fairly repairable. You know, just have to take a little bit of work from the crew, but they should be able to fix that.
Well, let's go over now to Matt Dalton, who's currently leading this race. Looks like you're staying out, Matt.
Yeah, sticking. But managed to take some tyres under the last one, and we're limited on tyres, so I'm going to keep my my fresh boots for later on.
And it seems like Jake Forster was getting in all kinds of trouble trying to catch back up to you after his earlier wall contact. What do you make of that? You see that in your mirrors?
Yeah, I could see it and hear it, and I've got him chatting to me on TeamSpeak as well, so we've been having a good giggle at that. That's just a case of me being on new tyres and him being on older ones, and the pair of us trying to stay ahead of Tom, so...
Well, Tom Drabble seems to be pretty quick out there. You worried about that sort of pace?
It's not so much the pace as the fact that he's aggressive, shall we say, is the bigger concern.
And it's been an interesting race so far. We just saw Kosar into the wall there, and some drivers struggling with this circuit. One of the more difficult ovals, I think. But you seem to be all right with that so far.
Yeah, I mean, Darlington is one of my favourite tracks. It's one you have to wheel it a little bit more. You have to push the car and you know, be careful where you run. There's a pretty specific line, and if you can maintain that, then you're good. But yeah, it's a good challenge, and I enjoy it. It's a tricky little so-and-so, though.
What does it say on the back of your truck?
The Red Dragon leads the way.
There we go. If you're watching in HD, you can probably read that one, but it's about time to let Matt get back to preparations for the green flag. Matt Dalton, thanks very much for joining us, and let's hope we get some more green flag laps with you in the front of the pack.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So cheers, guys, and hope everybody's watching.
There we go, Matt Dalton, and we'll try and get a few more drivers in if we can. Hopefully not too many more opportunities with more cautions, but interesting what those guys are saying about Drabble. It seemed to confirm what we said before, Tom, about he seemed a little bit aggressive in causing that first caution, perhaps.
Yeah, but this is the racing drivers here. You know, they won't always want to be out in front. You know, you can't blame Tom. Tom's very aggressive in the trucks. He's very quick as well. So, you know, he wants to be at that front. He wants to be leading when the checkered flag comes out.
Well, Kyle, Forster down to 4th place. He's going to have a little bit of work on his hands from the restart, but should be able to work his way back to the front, do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's one of the strongest ones that we've seen so far tonight. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts with traffic in front of him. He is starting on the outside line, which, if you recall off of the initial start, he had a great run on the outside and was actually able to take the lead on the outside. So we'll see how he does here with some traffic in front of him. Hopefully he doesn't get too in over his head and ruins his race, because he has a very fast truck that can do something with it and can do something with it tonight. So hopefully he can get himself into clean air and put on a show.
A little update for you there. It seems like we've lost. He's on the right hand side now. He's out of the 2 wide formation there, but Ellis Stevens almost dropped off, almost lost his connection. Doesn't have the best internet in the world, so just keeping out of everyone's way so he's not blinking in and out suddenly on the restart. We're about to go green here once again at Darlington. We've had another round of pit stops, and some drivers deciding to stay out, including Forster. Oh no, Forster was in, so Drabble, Dalton, and Stevens stayed out. Here we go, they're going green for the 3rd time here at Darlington Raceway. Dalton will lead them away. Here he goes. Tom Drabble moves into 2nd. So we had a few drivers going too wide on the restart last time, Tom, but it looks like everyone's quickly into single file this time.
Yeah, everyone's single file. It's still a long race. There's all the 3 and the 30 nearly having a little bit of body contact there with Tom Rowan and Christopher. Otherwise, everyone single file trying to get through and hoping to make the rest of the 100 or so laps to go.
Oh, and we've got well, someone's loose. Someone. Oh, is that Russell Palmer? Russell Palmer. Oh, 3 cars involved in that. 4 cars involved in that. John Jarrett's just gone into those as well, and that was a disaster. Is that 2 blown engines there? Let's go back and get a replay of that one. Caution flags out again almost immediately here. And that looked like it was Russell Palmer's mistake. Let's have another look on the replay. The 29's going round the inside there. That's Vince Harley. Oh, it is. I beg Russell Palmer's pardon, but that was a mistake by Vince Harley, I believe, that's caused that caution, and nothing Russell Palmer can do. So just have a quick look from the on-board from Russell. From Vince Harley, in fact. Down the inside. Yeah. And we can just see that doesn't quite give enough room there and makes the contact with Palmer, sends Palmer spinning. And yeah, Palmer is now... Well, he made a lot of contact with a lot of cars there. I think Stevens just about got away with that one, and the number 3 machine there of Tom Rowan is not so lucky. That Reese's machine is definitely in pieces, Kyle.
Pun intended, I'm going to think on that one, but yeah, just nowhere for him really to go. I'm kind of questioning why Russell Palmer made such an abrupt move back up the track. He seemed to safely be able to come back down. I mean, I know he was damaged and probably wasn't easy for him to keep control, but I mean, he just took a very abrupt move to the outside and took out some innocent victims there. So a tough break for all involved. Looks like it's going to take out at least 2 drivers from the race. I think it was Tom Rowan and I believe Russell were spewing some pretty heavy engine smoke there, so their nights may be done. Not too sure how Mark Cunningham and Ken Bracey, I think the other one was involved, how their trucks are, but I would expect at least the 3 and the 15 to have to climb out of the cab of the truck and call it a night.
Well, I beg John Jarrett's pardon as well. I said he was involved in that. It wasn't. It was this machine here, the number 77 of Mark Cunningham, and he is full lock in the pits, and it looks like he is getting some repairs done there. Russell Palmer is off the circuit. Ken Bracey, Tom Rowan. Ben Gregory is out. He's not involved in that one. I thought he might have been, but he wasn't. And we think Stevens got away with that one as well. So perhaps 4 cars down there, and that's going to take us down to 11 or 12 drivers. Unless, well, Cunningham looks like he's going to stick this one out, Tom. He looks like he might be able to get back on the track.
It all depends if he hasn't used his free repair or if he hasn't had any damage before or prior to that crash. But you know, it's such a shame. You know, the little sort of taps could send a car spinning to the wall. I think you know, the car involved, I can't remember the car now, who was involved now, my memory's going on black now. I think he was trying to say hi to try and let the guys go low, but then probably realised that's not the best way because that's where the racing line is. So he went low, but then just kind of lost it going over the apron. So hopefully we see Mark coming back out in the pits, but you know, it's going to be very interesting from here on out.
It's just a shame to see another caution quite so soon, but it is too tough to tame for some of these drivers here at Darlington. And yeah, it wasn't the best choice of livery for poor old Tom Rowan, was it, Kyle?
No, not at all. Not for this circumstance, anyway.
So we're looking for the 4th restart, well, the 3rd restart, 4th start, if you like, 4th green flag. The number 29 machine there of Vince Harley was involved in that, but you know, seems to have got away with that one. His connection is not great. The number 29 Canada machine there. He needs to get that connection sorted out if he's going to go for a 2-wide restart, because it's not the widest track in the world, Tom.
Oh no, you've seen, well, we'll just manage 3 wide on one lap, and somehow we didn't call it Havocton, but hopefully he's going to go low, like we can see him now, so that's very smart there from Vince, so hopefully we're going to have a very safe restart.
And Vince Harley has actually pulled it off, so maybe he's had some connection problems there. Pace car's in, ready to go racing once again. Let's have a longer green flag this time, please, boys. Matt Dalton will lead the field away. Jake Forster on the outside, the number 44. Tom Drabble right behind, trying to get the jump on Dalton, doesn't get the job done, and Forster is going to have trouble keeping Drabble behind him as they're going to go too wide now into turn 1. Drabble down the inside, very difficult to make that line work, but even harder when it comes around to 3 and 4. Forster keeps it out of the wall this time. Drabble is literally on the back of that Chevy Silverado, and the three of them are nose to tail for now. Drabble will want to get past as quickly as possible to start. Oh, and he's in the wall, Kyle. He's made wall contact.
Bit 3 wide back there with the 30 to 59, and also Ellis, and Ellis just came out of it completely. Sorry for cutting across you, Chris.
Oh, we got trouble. That's John Jarrett's going around. He was collected by Ben Gregory there. Keeps it, oh no he doesn't. I thought he kept it in one piece, but he's spun it. He is now off the racing line though. That should not trigger the caution, hopefully. We'll have a quick look at that in more detail in just a moment. Let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay from that 3 wide perspective. Ben Gregory in the 613, and you can see Jarrett's just gone past Kosar on the inside, and Gregory can't. And that's another piece of irony there. Oh dear, some people need to reconsider their liveries on this one. I don't know if you guys can see on the back of John Jarrett's vehicle there, but Jarrett, slow-moving vehicle, and that's exactly what happened to him as Gregory got in the back of him there. I shouldn't laugh, should I?
No, he's still kind of new to ovals. He's still trying to get his feet into him, so he's going to try and get in there. And also, Chris number 30 has actually pulled over.
So we've lost Christopher Kosar as well. That's not good news, and we are down to 10 cars. Bracey, well, we're 9 on track, and Bracey in the pits. So you called it, Kyle.
Unfortunately so.
Well, and in actual fact, we're only a third of the way through this race. So if the attrition continues like this, we will have minus 15 cars on the track by the end of the race, Tom. It's not going to be too good if we only have 2 or 3 finishing here.
Yeah, it won't be the fantastic finish as we thought. Russell's just put in the chat as well saying I'm done too. So he's now out the race. I'm guessing his engine is unrepairable. But it only seems to be probably about 8 cars on track at the moment.
Yep. Only 9 out there, the last of which is Ben Gregory. And Ken Bracey is hanging in there in the pits, but he is so many laps down now, he's well out of that. Everyone on the lead lap except for Ben Gregory, which means if the caution comes out again, he will get that lucky dog, as it's called, I believe. And Forster has forced his way back into the lead. Who's in the wall?
112. Tom Drabble's just hit the outside wall now. Is just going alongside the pit lane, and he's just reset as well.
Let's have a quick look from different camera angle on the replay. Yeah, just Darlington stripe is now even thicker than ever as he gets catapulted to the inside of the track, and that could be Tom Drabble's evening done as well. Let's have another look from the onboard perspective. Has a little bit of damage there. Yeah, just wasn't the heaviest of wall contacts, Kyle. It just sent the car, or the truck, right down to the inside, which is exactly what you don't want, and then more damage.
Yeah, it wasn't a significant amount of contact, but the possible damage that already is done to that 112 could have knocked him down into the inside wall. I was actually really surprised he went all the way down to hit the inside wall. Lots of room on the straightaways here for these guys to hang on to their trucks, but not the case there for Tom Drabble, as it looks like he might be another casualty in this one.
Well, we've lost Ben Gregory as well, so Drabble, Gregory, Kosar, Harley, Palmer, Rowan, Cunningham, Robertson, Oakley, both Ceratos, Evans and Woods are all out of this race, and we've had a whopping 55 laps. We've had half an hour around Darlington. And Forster's a bit loose there. That's going to allow Dalton down the inside, and Truxell is just behind these two as well. It's going to take the opportunity to get the jump on Forster. Surely he's not going to make it too wide with Dalton as well, but Forster's coming back. Has to hold that low line, doesn't want to make any contact there, and has to give up the position once again. So Dalton throw into the lead, but the big story here at Darlington is we have lost a lot of cars, Tom. Hopefully we don't need to lose any more.
Okay. No, I hope not. It'll be, like you said, we're only a third of the way through this race, and I hope we will have 7 functioning trucks at the end of this race.
Well, I'm wondering maybe we can go and have a quick word. Let's see if we can get Ben Gregory in here. Are you there, Ben?
Yes, hello.
A retirement for you, Ben. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, just struggling at the moment. It was a bit of a bad race as soon as I had a couple of those hits on the side of the wall.
And they call Darlington too tough to tame, and it's beginning to become obvious why, as we've lost a lot of trucks out there. But was it the track or the driving, do you think?
I think it was just I was just super unfamiliar with the track. It was a good race. I had some pace, but it's just the consistency I was really struggling with.
Well, it's a different discipline completely, because you're in some of the BSR TV Road series as well. Do you think it's difficult to swap between them? Is it a different mindset that you have to get into? You get up in the morning and think, today's my oval day, or is it just fairly seamless when you get into one, you know what you're doing?
I've done enough oval to kind of know what I'm doing. It's not perfect, but there is definitely a completely different way of driving. The cars are so much looser, and it's just, as well as the pack racing as well, it's quite hard to get used to.
And what about the setup? Because it was a fixed setup, everyone's on exactly the same setup, but it's not the iRacing default, so how did you find that?
It was actually a pretty good setup. I was actually quite happy with it. It was pretty quick, and I had, like I said, a good pace with it, but I just feel like it was looser on the rear, and I really would have preferred it, but I still could handle it reasonably okay, apart from it just was a bit inconsistent.
Well, better luck next time for the Oval Series, Ben, but will we be seeing you back in action for the final rounds of the Carrera and Touring Car Cups this week?
Yes, I would definitely be around for those.
Excellent, thanks very much. That's Ben Gregory there. And he has not had the best evening. You can hear there that he's not entirely happy with the way that went, Kyle. No surprise there, though.
No, not at all. A very disappointing run. As he mentioned, not a ton of oval racing experience, and with that experience that he has, I'm sure coming to Darlington kind of threw him through a loop. This is a one-of-a-kind racetrack, a very unique track that you can't really compare it to anything else because it's just so different. And if for somebody who isn't as experienced on the ovals and has never seen a track like this, it's hard to really take anything that you've learned elsewhere to try to incorporate it here and try to help you attack this track. So a tough break for Benjamin Gregory, but sounds like he's optimistic about what's to come later on this week on BSR TV with some racing stuff.
Well, I think going over to Jake Forster at the moment, he must have some magnets on the right side of that truck that he didn't know about, because he is just getting sucked into just about every single bit of concrete on the right hand side that there is on the track. He's got a lot of damage on the right hand side, and he's a second a lap slower now compared to the race leaders, who although he is still on pace with the rest of the field. So our entire field now is made up of 7 cars, and that's not great for the racing, I've got to say. But Forster, Tom, is having trouble.
Yeah, I've been watching a few laps, and it seems to have a little bit of wiggle going into the entry of the corner, and then he tries to catch it, he does, and then he just slides up high and just hits the wall. He's had a few hits. I think he had a nasty hit coming towards out turn 4. But he's feeling a little bit of pressure here. He's got damage. He has to try to adapt his driving style to the damage. But we'll see if he can actually get to the end of the race with Jake finished in the last truck race.
Well, John Jarrett is that blue truck just up ahead, and Forster is cutting it very fine on the exits of these corners. Has to have a big lift there as Jarrett sensibly gets out of the way. That, Kyle, looks more like an out-of-control missile at the moment than a truck.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling. He's hit the wall enough where it's affected his truck, and he is not as fast as he was at the beginning of this race, and he's really struggling out there to keep a smooth line and keep a competitive pace.
Well, let's hope Ken Bracey on the inside there has seen that number 44. Forster into the wall again, more damage. to that poor old Chevy Silverado. These things are built like tanks, but there is a limit to how much damage these are going to be able to take. Ken Bracey now 21 laps down, but he is now the 8th driver on the circuit, so at least, Tom, at least he's going round, and at least we've got more than 7 trucks out there.
Oh, it'll help his championship standards as well, as he keeps on just going round. You know, a lot of people has sadly had contact with the wall or had a collision with other cars, but you know, if you keep on going round, you'll be able to pick up those vital points.
Indeed. Dalton still leads then after, well, we've got 83 to go still, so we're less than halfway through this race. Been green for a while now, at least. We've had 3 cautions and quite a few cars, quite a few trucks drop out of this one. Truxell is in 2nd place now. I don't imagine Dalton would have thought Truxell would have been his main rival in this race. We haven't seen him out there before, Kyle.
No, this is the first little bit that he's gotten to be out in front, and he's staying right with Matthew Dalton. You know, if he can figure out a way to get by him or pounce on a mistake that Dalton makes, he can very easily take this lead. So nice to see an unexpected face up towards the front challenging, and who knows, maybe he'll be able to take the lead here very soon.
Pretty much everybody else is separate on the track now. Big gaps between a lot of these drivers. Truxell looking down the inside here, but it's not going to be able to make it too wide on this particular corner. And that nice green and black number 4 machine. But he surprised us, definitely. Well, he surprised me at least. Sounds like it might have surprised you guys as well. Dalton, though, holding steady up front. He's not been leading for every single lap of this Darlington experience so far, but he now has a fairly secure lead, although Truxell might have other ideas. I'm not sure there's much to choose between them on pace, Tom.
No, Channel can't really go down the inside. The racing line is on the high side, then coming low when coming out the exit of the corner. So all we can really do is try and have a reasonable gap, try and save his tyres as much as he can, so then he can attack nearer towards the pit stop phase. As it seems that we're going to go green flag running for the rest of this race, and we're going to have some green flag pit stops.
Well, don't speak too soon. This is the monthly Oval Series after all, but let's hope so. The 47 machine of Robert Plumley is that a Pepsi livery? Oh no, it's an Asus livery. Okay. He is about 1.5 seconds ahead of Burton. Burton now, one of the Chuckle brothers there, is still going, and he's going around pretty steadily at the moment. Stephen's not far behind, but this is probably one of the closest battles we've got on the track, except for the one we've got for the lead right now, because Mark has made it work for him. The number 4 overtakes the number 6 for now, at least. Tom, that's a daring move.
It seems Matt just let off, actually, just to let Mark through, so I'm not sure if that's tactical from Matt there, but you know, it's going to be interesting racing to see, unless he's done it to save a little bit of fuel as he's in its slipstream.
Yeah, well, just having a look at the overtake on the replay, and clean through. Dalton might well have lifted then. Did look like that. We missed it the first time, but it's very clear the second time round, and that will give him an advantage, Kyle, if he just stays on the draft for long enough. He's going to save quite a bit of fuel and possibly lower wear on the tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to want to try to stay as close as he can here and try to take that lead back if he can't. But it looks like right now Truxell's starting to open up just a little bit of a gap, little sideways off the turn for there, so that might cost him a little bit of time. But for surely he's got a bigger gap ahead of Dalton. Dalton had ahead of him earlier on.
It's always difficult to make the overtake here at Darlington, and now that he's done it, he's looking to pull away. I don't think he's holding much back, is he? Which is, when we get these green flag pit stops, it'd be interesting to see where in this race it's going to come. What lap was the caution on? Does anyone have that?
I believe it was lap 47.
So about 103 to go. Can we do that in one stop?
I'm not too sure. I think they will have to pit, and especially if they will have a nice run to the finish with pressed tyres. They may worry about tyres, especially what Matt said during his caution. He wants to save the tyres for the last couple of stints near the end of the race.
And we heard from Matt as well, there's a limited number of tyres on offer here, so you can't just go in whenever you want and take them. Is there a case here, Kyle, for perhaps just taking right side tyres?
On long run, I really don't see that being a very smart decision, unless, you know, maybe if the run comes down to maybe a handful of laps to go, maybe 20 laps or less, maybe. But I just don't think two tires is a very smart investment after running for so long. It just, tires are so vital here, and the way that your truck handles is just so important to be successful here. And I just don't think two tires is good enough to do so.
Alright, thanks Kyle, and we see that Mark Truxell up front is 0.6 ahead of Matt Dalton now. These guys are 5 ahead of Forster, who is still lapping a little bit slower, seems to have found more rhythm though after that damage. Plumley a further 15 down, but only 8 trucks are left in this race. We started with 21, we're down to 8, and we're only at the halfway mark. Seeing as we have arrived at the halfway mark, guys, we're going to take a very brief break here and come back to you in 5 or 10 minutes time, and hopefully we will have more to talk about. So join myself, Tom and Kyle in about 5 or 10 minutes here on BSR TV. Welcome back to Darlington for round 4 of the iRacing monthly oval series. Calling the shots, me, Chris Cohen, alongside Tom Stanley and Carl Young. And Tom, you've got a quick update for us on what we missed during the break.
Yeah, a few laps back, lap 87 for Matt. He just pitted into the pits, maybe just filling up his tank so he'll be able to get to the end, and some new tyres, doing low 29s at the moment. Other news, Jake Foster, who was running third, is now just pulled over, went into the pits, pulled over, and has left the session now. So unfortunately, he is now out of the race, and we've only got one car on the lead lap, and that is the leader, the number 4, Mark Chotzell.
So that should even itself out with the next round of pit stops, hopefully, because he hasn't been in, has he, Tom?
No, he has not.
So that's why he's lapped to the good from everybody else. Dalton down to 5th after that pit stop, and excuse me, we've only got 7 cars out there on track, as you can see. Bracey is 22 laps down, according to this, long way down. And also Forster's position there is going to drop, so Bracey will pick up that 7th position. It's business as usual for Mark Truxell up at the front of the field. He is just going to run away with this one without any other problems. 53 to go. We've been out here about an hour, and really it's going to be a quiet race all the way to the flag, Tom, because 7 trucks out of 21 left.
Yeah, it's a shame to see that, but you know, all these guys are surviving with the fitness. Hopefully they won't be able to hit any walls. They just want to get at home and grab a bag of points at the end of that race.
Darlington Raceway then, too tough to tame for 14 of these drivers, at least, including championship contender Jake Forster. A shame to lose him, especially so early on. Dalton still going around there. You can see he's actually doing 28s at the minute on those fresh tyres. So he is at least half a second faster than the rest of the field, a full second in some cases, and what we're going to see from him is trying to make up as much time as possible on Mark up front until Mark decides to pit in. Although, Tom, you have to feel like it's going to take another pit stop for Matt Dalton to get to the end of this race.
Yes, but he won't have to take fuel. I think the fuel was now enough to be able to get him on to the end of the race when he pitted on lap 30. Yeah, as Mark coming into the pits now.
Let's switch over to Mark and have a look at his pit stop, see how long it takes him to get away. That last stop was 15.1 from Matt Dalton, so we're looking for a similar kind of time as he makes his way down pit road. According to our information here, it's going to be his 5th pit stop, but I'm not sure that's correct. He can't have made that many and still be at the front, surely. But looks like it could well be green for a long time here, so he's got to make this one work under green flag conditions.
And we'll let you know when Matt's coming out turn 4.
And there goes the right side, and there goes the left side. New tyres going on the number 4 machine. And that pit stop is a 14.5, so made up 0.6.
Coming around 4 now.
This will be very interesting to watch as Truxell looks for those exit cones to start getting back up to speed.
Oh, Rob Burton spun when coming into the pits as well.
Well, let's come back to that one in just a moment. And Dalton has actually jumped him, so Truxell is now down in 4th position. Although when the pit stops sort that order out, he will be in 2nd, I believe. But Dalton has, let's see, he has a 3.5 second gap. So that's what those fresh tyres did for him.
But now Mark has got the advantage of fresh tyres and maybe less fuel. So, you know, he had a quicker stop because he had to take less fuel. But now he can go a little bit quicker on his first opening laps.
Well, here is Robert Burton's approach to the pits. Let's have another look at that one. Just
Robert Burton has actually spun.
It's got a little bit loose. Yeah, we just having a look at that one again, and seems to have trouble finding that reverse gear, and ends up doing more damage to the front of that truck on the way into the pits. Unfortunately, you managed to catch that one on camera for us.
Another one also, Robert Plumley trying to get into the pits, and he's spun it and actually hit the inside wall.
Well, it seems to be a lot of problems on pit entry for these guys. That's unusual. It's not what I expected either from Robert Plumley, who currently leads this championship going into this race. And trying to get the car going again, just lights up the rears once again, and it ends up, well, not. You can see it on your screen viewers. There's not a lot to say about that. That's not the best way to enter the pit lane for Rob Plumley.
And now he's sped in the pits as well now.
So he's going to be getting the black flag. He's going to have to make a little bit of an unpredictable, lengthy stop there. And it didn't trigger a caution, even though he didn't make the pit entry, because he wasn't on the racing surface, which was lucky, because that would be even more embarrassment for Plumley.
Yeah, I don't think the other drivers would like that, having a caution out because of a simple spin, especially with Matt Dalton still leading away about 1.8 seconds in front.
Well, Plumley takes tyres on that battered Chevrolet Silverado, and we've lost Ellis Stevens as well. He is not out there on the track, so we're down to 7 trucks. 46 still to go here at Darlington. 7 trucks left. That is quite unbelievable. Plumley gets it going again, and he is going to come out in 5th place. The only man behind him on the circuit, well, we're down to 6. We're down to 6 trucks. The only man behind him on the circuit is Ken Bracey, who is now 21 laps down. Well, back up at the front, we've got a fight on our hands, because you were right. Dalton, his tyres are a little bit older now, and he's starting to suffer just slightly on pace, and that gap now is 1.5 seconds. So we could be seeing another challenge for the lead pretty soon, Tom.
Indeed, we're coming out to about 40 to go, or 40 or so laps to go, and you know, it'll be interesting to see what Matt does. Would he come into the pits and maybe just put an extra set of tyres on, or will he go all the way just to try and protect Mark from coming in? Like, you know, the gap is about 3/10 faster in Mark's favour, so the gap is coming close now to about a second.
Well, if Matt can't hold on to this lead, then there's really no harm in coming in for more tyres, because he's not going to be able to go any faster than he is right now, and Truxell does have the advantage on the tyre situation, although not by much. What was the difference? 10 laps?
I think Matt pitted lap 87 and Mark pitted lap 100, so yeah, it's about 13 lap difference.
So those tyres are a little bit fresher, but shouldn't be making too much difference, I don't think. And, well, it is. The gap's now down to 1 second in the time that we've been speaking about it, and Dalton's going to be looking in his mirror thinking, I'm going to come under attack pretty soon, although it did take a while for him to yield that lead last time, so we could be seeing that one again, Tom.
I don't think so. I think it's all out from here on end.
Well, elsewhere on the circuit, Plumley has come out of the pits about 2 seconds behind John Jarrett. So John Jarrett in that blue number 59 there, he is currently lapping in 30.4. Plumley's doing 29.9, and that's half a second a lap, so within 3 or 4 laps Plumley should have caught up, and we could see a challenge for 4th place as well. But meanwhile up front, you can see that gap now has come right down, and it's not going to be long before there's going to be a challenge for the race lead. I think Matt's going to defend this one from number 1, but Tom thinks otherwise, so we're going to see if he might well pull over and let Truxell through again. Or, oh, and he's in the wall. That might have settled it. Dalton with a little bit of a mistake there, gets a bit wide. Not huge contact there, but it's going to slow him down enough as we go on to this long straight here, and well, that gap is right down now, so there's not a lot to choose between them. Although you have to say that these guys have both kept their trucks pretty clean so far.
Oh yeah, hardly any mistakes from these 2 drivers. It's all going to come down to driver errors in the last 40 laps now.
And we saw some of those from Jake Forster, who just couldn't keep it out of the wall, unfortunately, and he is one of the top drivers in this series, and if he's making mistakes like that, then anyone possibly could. And we also have a back marker up front, not sure who that is. Oh, Truxell's in the wall now as well, so both drivers making some contact there. Not heavy contact again, but the body shop won't be doing them any favours, won't be thanking them for that one at all. And very wide from Dalton. Again, these two drivers both giving it everything at the moment. Got to be careful. Got to be really careful here, because like you say, we're still 38 from that checkered flag. Anything could happen here, and it makes it even more unpredictable with this damage situation that we've got going on. Could be a move here from Mark, though, in the number 4 machine. Looks like he's got a good run, Tom.
He does, but now it's trying to figure a way round, and indeed, Matt, I think, just lift off and let Mark through.
Well, it might be for the best, because it could have been nasty if he tried to defend. We saw him do that last time as well. And Truxell is about 0.3 faster on the last lap, although this time round it was Dalton who was faster. So that draft will come into play, and we've also got, that's Burton up in front. Burton is about to go 3 laps down. So the only two.
I believe he's got to go 2 laps down.
I beg your pardon, 2 laps down. So the only 2 guys on the lead lap now are these 2 you see on your picture at the front of the field. Let's just get those positions up on your screen for the benefit of everybody at home. Yes, and Plumley is a further lap down, and Jarrett is a further lap down beyond that. So in the meantime, while we've been watching this battle as Burton moves over there, we were right in that Plumley did have more pace than Jarrett and has gone through. Although Jarrett, despite being 2 laps down, is in 5th place, and anyone still running in this race is going to finish at least 6th. So that's significant, Tom.
Indeed, he pitted as well on the same lap as Matt did as well on lap 87, so he's got pretty decent tyres, and Plumley had, you know, an advantage of, well, not Plumley, yeah, Plumley had an advantage of pitting a little bit later, so he's got them fresher tyres, but John's doing well. He's keeping out the walls. He's in P5 at the moment. Not really anyone to battle. The guy behind him is about 19 laps down on him, so he's still doing well. Still going to get a good top 5 result here.
Apologies for that. That was my my dog. My dog is normally very quiet during these broadcasts, but something's obviously spooked him. So yeah, well, hopefully we won't hear from him again during the broadcast, unless he has anything to contribute that we haven't spotted out there on the circuit. You never know. But Kyle Young is around somewhere as well. Are you there, Kyle?
Indeed I am.
Excellent, welcome back, Kyle. It's going to be a little bit of a quiet finish to this race, you feel, after another. We've had 117 here at Darlington, but only 6 trucks remaining. Just looking at Ken Bracey go around, and seems to be a theme for this series, which doesn't seem to be the best thing for the viewers.
No, not at all. Not with these guys. I'm sure want to see some closer racing action. Obviously, you know, we've had a decent battle the past couple of minutes between the leaders, but I think that the fresher tires for Truxell is just going to prevail, and he's just going to slowly walk away from Matthew Dalton here. As long as he doesn't do that too many more times, he should be okay. These two have a 2-lap advantage over Robert Burton, Robert Plumley, and John Jarrett, and then Ken Bracey still turning some laps out there. He will be taking the 6th spot away from Ellis Stevens here within a few laps, and then that's our 6 truck field. So we've lost over 2/3 of the drivers who were supposed to, or who started this race. We've got 6 left with 30 laps to go. So hopefully we don't lose any more.
And the Darlington surface it's an interesting oval, if you can call it an oval, because significantly tighter around 2 of the bends than it is around the others. And in actual fact, back in 1950, when they put this thing together, there was a limited amount of space, because one of the property owners here in South Carolina refused to sell up, so they were limited in terms of what they could do with the circuit, which gives us the circuit we have today. There was a pond in the middle, and they had to kind of build a circuit around the pond and stay off this guy's land. And you know, those South Carolinas, I don't know what would happen if you started building a NASCAR circuit on their land. Maybe you can tell us, Kyle, but I imagine it might involve shotguns.
Possibly. You know, that the whole story behind the way that this track is shaped is a very interesting one, and it makes Darlington a track one of a kind. There's literally nothing else on the NASCAR circuit that is anything remotely close to the Darlington Raceway. You have 2 totally different turns, a completely unique shape to this racetrack, and a very a very different way that it races, a characteristic that it is solely its own. It doesn't compare to anything else out there, and makes for some very unique racing. Unfortunately, things associated with Darlington are not always well, as we have seen in this race. But when you do have the drivers out there, it does make for a fairly entertaining and very interesting race to watch.
It does indeed, but not in this situation. Down to 6 trucks, one of which is 20 laps behind. But I've got to give credit here, Tom, for Ken Bracey just staying out there. He got into a lot of damage early on, not entirely convinced it was all his doing or any of his doing, and just thought, right, I'm going to stay in this one. I'm not just going to disconnect. I'm going to take the repairs, and I'm going to carry on with this race. And out of that, he's going to get a 6th place.
Yeah, of course. My theory, like, that's Ken actually just hit the wall there. But for me as a driver on Oval Racer, I won my championships not by the wins I had. I had no wins in my winning championship. I was always in the top 5, and that's what you need in this kind of championship. The top guys have always been around, the top 5 or top 10 even, depending on how many runners there be. So Ken just getting a 6th place will secure him. He doesn't even really have to run anymore, as he's still going around, as I think the leaders are now on, I believe, 126. So he could effectively finish the race and he wouldn't really have to overtake anyone else.
That might well be the case, and well, he's in the pits. He's just got into the pits there. I thought he was going to go into those water barrels on the entry there. The pit entry seems to be so tricky here. I don't know if that's the case or not, but let's see how Ken Bracey does in the pits. He is limited on tyres, but effectively he's not limited on time. He could just get out and have a cup of tea, and then, or go for a KFC, in fact, as this truck suggests, and come back, and he still wouldn't lose any further places, Kyle.
No, not at all. He can afford a little bit of a snack break here with just a handful of laps to go if he really wanted to. Can't quite see if the team is throwing any drumsticks or breasts in there, but I gotta give him some credit though. It's always nice to see the drivers who get into some trouble and aren't having the greatest of days stick in there. I've had a similar situation to that before. I got caught up in an early wreck and stayed out, and I ended up gaining a ton of positions. And it's going to help. He's going to come home with a top 10 finish. I believe at this point he's too many laps down to where if anybody else dropped out of the race, he wouldn't gain those spots. So he's locked into 6th place no matter what he does. And 6th place, it's not a bad place to finish for the way that the points are concerned. A solid top 10 finish, decent amount of points. So hats off to Ken Bracey and that number 23 team.
Indeed, and you can just see on the cameras there, he gets going again, but the right hand side of that Silverado, you might as well take that to the junkyard after the race. How it's still going, I don't know. A lot of damage on that car, most of it on the right hand side, but still going, importantly. And while we've got the chance, Tom, you have your own YouTube channel as well. Why don't you tell the viewers what they can expect to see on that?
I would have thought you wouldn't have brought up, but if you want me to advertise it, I can. My YouTube channel is all about just pretty much any racing game. It's called the F1 Racing Mad, which hopefully I'll be renaming it in the summer, but currently it's called the F1 Racing Mad. It was when I was much younger. But if you expect some iRacing videos, my latest video has been the BSR Skip Barber series, when it was at Bathurst and I was starting in the back as Mark just hits the wall there coming out of turn 4. But yeah, if you want to see some more iRacing videos or even any racing videos, please feel free to check out my channel, the F1 Racing Mad, and follow me on Twitter if you also want to see my updates. Tom Stanley 961.
Thanks for that, Tom. And speaking of Twitter, we had a tweet from Simon Field, who participates in this championship, saying, "Oops, I was a bit late, and I think he might want us to race in this and kind of missed out, unfortunately." So hopefully Simon's watching in instead of participating. If you are, hello Simon, and hopefully we'll see you out on the track for the next round. The next round, as we've got 18 to go here at Darlington, the next round is Texas, which is going to be on the 10th of May. And that, as you know, this is a mixed series, so this is going to be in the Nationwide instead of the Silverado. and it's an open setup there at Texas. That one could well be interesting. Hopefully next time out we might have a few more trucks finish this, but as it stands we're down to 6. Ken Bracey brings up the rear of the field. Mark Truxell now has 9 seconds on Matt Dalton, although we're expecting Dalton to stop again. What's your feeling, Kyle? Both of these drivers have to stop again, surely.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're probably going to have to stop. I don't think they can make it. Well, I know at least, I know for a fact Matthew Dalton is going to have to pit. There's just no way. I'm going to think that Truxell will have to pit as well. I don't see how we can make 50 laps work. I could be wrong. You never know. But I definitely think that Matthew Dalton is going to have to pit for sure.
Just look at this as well. The number 05, the Chuckle Brothers machine of Robert Burton, is in 3rd place, coming around to pass Ken Bracey to put him a further lap behind, which the leader 2 have already done. But a great drive from Burton, and we often see some of these drivers get into a lot of sticky situations early on, but he's kept it on the grey stuff for an entire race. And when we say Chuckle Brothers, do you know what we're talking about, Kyle?
No.
Okay, well, I'll let you and all the other American viewers perhaps look that one up after the race. But some interesting liveries out there this evening. Ken Bracey's obviously in the KFC number 23 there, and Dalton is in the Welsh flag number 6 with his lovely Welsh writing on the back. He did tell us what that meant, didn't he, Tom? And I can't remember.
He did. I actually can't remember myself.
Good thing we're all paying attention in the commentary box, isn't it?
Look, coming back to Rob Burton though, he's going to be under pressure though from Rob Plumley. He's just picked up his pace now, Burton. You know, these guys are still fighting it for that final podium. You know, I think they're only a couple of seconds behind each other, so that's going to be a nice, interesting fight with about 20 laps or so to go.
Well, 13 to go, in fact, so not long now for Plumley. That's about 7 minutes of green flag racing here. He's a second and a half down, but he is closing in on Rob Burton. And, well, it's going to be a choice, isn't it? Burton can either just keep it safe, keep it out of the concrete, and just sort of trickle round to finish this race, or he can try and keep Plumley behind him, Kyle, although that does come at the risk of losing yet another truck. Or 2.
Yeah, it does. You know, you got to think of risk versus reward here. You know, coming down to the end of the race, and you know, if it's really worth going for it, or if it's just better off to just settle and finish strong.
Now that gap to, well, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, the timing information. We've lost Truxell. What's happened to Truxell? Oh, he's back. So, connection problems perhaps there. Yeah, looks like he's having some connection problems, which is a disaster 10 laps from the end of the race when you're winning the race. Let's hope he can keep that one in one piece as far as his internet goes. He has to be connected when he passes that stripe to pass on to another lap, otherwise the lap won't count. And he is. So he has to do that another 11 times. But worrying times there, Tom, for the leader.
Yeah, very worrying, because you don't really. I've had that before in many other races. He blinks out again. Hopefully he crosses the line, or is he on the back stretch? I believe he's on the back stretch there. My apologies, but you know, he's got to be careful if he doesn't flash at the wrong time. As he's coming out of turn 4 now. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually get to the end of the race. So bless you.
Sorry, yeah. Sneeze off mic there. I did mute that. Don't worry about that. But now let's go back to Burton, because Plumley is making a move down the inside to take the 3rd place away from him, and Burton might have just decided to let this one run. Plumley's got the pace. Burton doesn't want to make contact with him or that Darlington wall and put himself out of this race with only 9 to go. 4th place, still a very respectable finish, and Plumley, who had a very quiet race, Kyle, has found himself in 3rd place just by keeping himself to himself. And that's going to help him in this championship, because he came into this winning, and he's going to get a lot of points here.
Yeah, for sure. We mentioned earlier, you know, he had a very quiet race, No, he's run into a couple of issues of his own, but he's stuck it out. And he's sitting in 3rd place right now, and that's going to extend his point lead by a significant amount. I'm not too sure who's second in the points, but either way, points leader finishing in the top 3, yeah, that's going to be a very, very good points day for the 47 team.
Truxell continues to have problems up front. We will stay with him for now, with 7 laps left. But we can just go over to the scores and have a quick look at the top of the table there. We've got Plumley on top by only 3 points. Stevens is going to finish 7th because he's disconnected. Well, he's not going to finish, but he's going to come 7th, if you like. And Forster in 8th, so he's going to drop points. Dalton, however, in 6th position in the championship, is going to pick up slightly more points than Plumley, but not enough to take him to the top of the table. So it's probably going to be Plumley, then Stevens, then Forster, I imagine. 1, 2, 3 in the championship after this race. This is round 4, and we have a total of 8 rounds to go after this. As Truxell continues to have problems, he needs to be careful getting past Robert Burton here. Burton might just want to let him go if he's blinking. Well, last thing he wants a caution to come out on those 2 drivers to crash out of this one. Oh, Burton's in the wall as well, got to be careful. Keeps it in one piece. Only 5 laps to go, so should be able to bring that machine home now. But yeah, going back to what I was saying just now, Tom, 8 rounds to go, a variety of different oval racing machines and circuits to go on, and you never quite know what you're going to get in this series.
It just sees what kind of driver can actually grasp the different oval cars. You know, I'm only specifically to the truck, so I know I can be very consistent in the truck. With other oval cars, it's a bit harder for me. But you know, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of driver can tame each individual oval car.
And towards the end of the season, hopefully it will emerge who has the best all-round skill set, rather than just being, you know, great in, say, the NASCAR Gen 6, or great in the truck, as you say. You're going to need to master all of these disciplines, or get as close as possible, and for 15 of these drivers today, that mastery has evaded them. Looks like Truxell might well finish this one, but by the skin of his teeth, his connection is awful, Carl.
Yeah, he's blinking all over the place. He just got into the wall there in turns 3 and 4. He's only got to make it last 2 more laps, then it can do whatever it wants. If it can just hold off for 1 more minute, and he will be able to win the race, then his internet can do whatever it pleases.
Well, that would be an awful result if he disconnected on the final lap here. Dalton looks to bring it home in 2nd, and I would love to keep the cameras on Truxell, but it's very awkward, makes very awkward viewing when he's in and out like that. With the number 4 machine over the stripe, then 1 lap to go. Final lap, white flag is out here at Darlington Raceway in round 4 of the iRacing monthly oval series. He only needs to keep it on the track. He's got a 20-second advantage over Dalton. It's not going to be a close finish. Everyone else is at least 2 laps down. So 6 trucks remaining, only 2 corners left for Mark Truxell. He's not going to try and get past Robert Plumley here. Takes the checkered flag, wins the race, and Dalton is going to come home in 2nd place. I'm just going to cut to Matt Dalton, but good race from both of those drivers, Tom.
Definitely, I find it interesting that Mark's internet actually held out that last lap without flashing, so that was a bit strange on his part. But Matt Dalton comes home 2nd, a good 20 or 18, just under 19 seconds of a gap. Plumley will be coming home in 3rd, while Rob Burton and John Jarrett have now finished the race.
So that is 150 laps around Darlington, 3 cautions in which we lost a lot of drivers, some drivers disconnecting due to connection problems. Fortunately, our race winner was not one of those. He is new to the series, however, so he's got some catching up to do if he wants to get up there in terms of the championship positions. But again, another race where we saw lots of attrition, Kyle, and we've got to get drivers in this series who are keen to stay on the track and able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Some work will have to be done here before next month's race, as this is 2 races in a row where we've had a low amount of drivers finish the race. Over 2/3 of the field who started this race did not finish, either crashed out or had some other issue that prevented them from finishing. So, hopefully not only the series, but these drivers too can go back to the drawing board, see what went wrong, and hopefully they can prepare and be much more capable of competing next month when we go to Texas.
Well, let's go over now to 6th place finisher Ken Bracey. Are you there, Ken? Ken might well be taking a break after that. Oh, well, we have got Ken Bracey. Welcome to the show. That KFC machine, I've got to say, Ken, was making us hungry the whole race, so thanks for that.
Well, I do like my KFC.
Yeah, likewise, and I'm sure it's popular down there in South Carolina as well. But it was just a case of just staying out there on the track, wasn't it? Credit to you for doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, I got into a couple of scrapes early on, and when I think the first caution came out, or second caution, I got caught up in that. And basically, that was my car pretty much done, 10 minutes worth of repairs, and I knew I was going to be many laps down, but I could just see people disconnecting, and I thought, stay in it, and I could pick up some points.
Well, we lost Ellis Stevens on lap 101, Jake Forster on 88, Tom Drabble on 53, and all the other drivers as well. Did you think that only 6 would finish when we started with 21?
No, I thought there'd be a few more, but I thought there would be a few cars going out, but I didn't think there'd be that many.
Well, that's going to make the championship a little bit interesting, isn't it? Plumley with another very good finish will keep him on top. But next time out, we're going to be heading to Texas, and that's going to be in the Nationwide. So is that one that you're particularly fond of?
Yeah, I think I'm quite fond of it, and I've also got a KFC car for that one as well, so all good.
Great, well, we'll make sure we eat in the commentary box beforehand. How about that?
Yeah, you'll need it.
Well, we'll let you go in and celebrate your 6th place, so well done, Ken.
Cheers.
And let's see now, guys, if we can bring in Matt Dalton once again, who got a 2nd place today. Are you there, Matt?
Hi, Chris.
2nd place, and we saw you battling out with well, it wasn't a battle in the end, but with race winner Mark Truxell. He just seemed to have more pace than you.
He was quite quick. I stopped earlier because we were running into some traffic, and I thought, well, if I stop now, I should make it to the end, and wanted to leapfrog ahead of him, and because I figured I could run in the draft, but in the end I was about 2 laps short on fuel, so I was having to run the clutch quite a lot and save fuel really heavily, so there was just nothing I could do on pace then.
Yeah, well, we saw you drop back, and we thought perhaps it was a fuel-saving measure just to catch a bit of that draft and stay ahead there, but the series seems to be suffering from a lot of people dropping out in these races, and it's not always through crashes. Some people seem to have some pretty dodgy connections as well.
Yeah, we may have to look to move in the server farm to a US server for the next round, but we lost. I mean, this one is not so different. This track we expected to lose a few. We had a good grid to start with, which is good, but it's always a tricky track, and it's a one that a lot of the UK guys don't run that often as well, so we were always going to lose a few, but it's worthwhile sticking out to the end for the guys, because it's valuable points for the championship, and from my own perspective, P2 today, Jake hasn't finished and Aaron hasn't finished, so it's extremely useful points.
Indeed, yes, and speaking of series entry, this was an open session, so you didn't even need to sign up to the league to enter. But what would you say to anyone who's on the fence about this, thinking, I might give this a try, but I'm not sure?
Yeah, come along and have...
we heard the first part of that, but not the second, unfortunately.
Sorry. Yeah, come along and have a go, is what I would say. Not all the tracks are as difficult as this one. Darlington is notoriously a really tough track to drive, and especially for a full distance race. But there's different rounds to come, and there's some new tracks to come as well. So it should be some good fun.
And Texas on May 10th. That's next month, and hopefully we'll have some coverage for you of that one as well. But particular favourite for that particular combination of the Nationwide?
I love the Nationwide car. Darlington is actually my favourite track, this one, but Texas is okay. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's another one like Charlotte that's one of the 1.5 milers, and it's a fast track as well, so it should create some good racing.
Well done for your 2nd place today. Very hard fought and great achievement. So thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
And that is Matt Dalton. Matt joins me in the commentary box, in actual fact, on a Monday for the Skip Barber series. And that is the next time you're going to be able to see BSR TV. We're going to be back in action on Monday. That's from the Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, over in the US for the Skip Barber series. That's one you actually drive in, Tom, right?
Yeah, I did mention in the forum that I'm definitely going to keep on going, turning up. Like, at the moment, this is just like a little taste of like, just signing at the back and seeing what I can do from it. And I've always been finishing in the points. So, next season I'm going to do it properly, going qualifying, going to be racing. But Infinite is such a fun track. It's very tight, very technical, and it's definitely worth a watch if you're around Monday night.
And in actual fact, Kyle, that track, that particular circuit, is on the schedule on August the 9th, and that's going to be a very interesting race when it comes to the nationwide, because it's not an oval.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how those guys do. A little change in game plan there for sure, and it should be interesting to watch.
And don't forget as well, next week, I suppose, if you count this as the week before the next Wednesday and Thursday, the Carrera Cup is going to round out Season 2, and the British Touring Car Championship will be on air on Thursday, which is going to round out Season 4 as well. Advantage Jamie Rushworth in the championship right now, but Stefan Hug is not far behind, and Bianco are just out ahead on Movie Go Racing in terms of points, but by the narrowest of margins. So it's all going to come down to the final 3 races, all of which you can see next Thursday. The Carrera Cup the day before on Wednesday. But thanks very much to Kyle and to Tom, and Tom's very first time in the commentary box. Did you enjoy that, Tom?
I did. I'm looking forward to the next month if I'm able to do that commentary again. But it was some great racing, very close racing in some parts of it, and it's a shame that we lost so many cars as we did.
Well, let's hope that the next time round we get a bigger field and fewer retirements, which would always be nice. But thanks to you guys at home as well for watching, whether it's live or recorded. And from everyone here at BSR TV, we'll see you next time.